what I want to do is I want to encourage you to be able to make a difference not only in your personal life but in your career. And so I want to do just a little attitude check to kind of see where we're at, okay? If life gives you lemons, come on, there's a lot more people. I know you can do better than that. Let's try again. If life gives you lemons, excellent. You know, I remember the first time that I really found out about life's lemons. I was young, energetic, felt like I had my whole life ahead of me when serving in the military. But I was nervous because what happened was I had been sick for a while, got called in to see the doctors, after several doctors, and they told me that those two words that nobody wants to hear. They said it's cancer. Now the good news is for me, is that at that time it was very curable. They said, Dave, just go through the treatment. It's about an 85% cure rate. Just go through it, you do very well. So, being in the Navy, they shipped me off to Bethesda Naval Hospital where I began my treatment. And just so you know, when you're in the Navy, you go, in the military, you go with a bunch of other guys that have cancer and different treatments. So what happened was when my hair started to look really bad, they said, Dave, you got to get a mohawk. And so I had a mohawk for a little while, and I went by the name Kimosabi. So that was a lot of fun. And at the same time, that was the same time when Ronald Reagan also came to Bethesda Naval Hospital for his colon cancer. And so although he didn't want to be my roommate, he did put guys on the roof with machine guns and a Secret Service in the elevator. And when you're 20 years old, that is really cool. And so luckily for me, you know, I had that experience. And I love Ronald Reagan. Because if you don't know the story of Ronald Reagan was not the biggest guy when he was little. But he wanted to play football. And what happened was his family said, Ronnie, you can't play football. You're not big enough. He was not discouraged by that because he knew that he could do more than what he was doing. So he tried out for the football team and did very well. And then the following that, he was able to go to college. And when he's in college, he decides, hey, I want to be a sports announcer. And his friend said, Ronnie, you can't be a sports announcer. You're a football player. Okay, and so he went on to be a sports announcer. And after he was a sports announcer for a little while, he decided he wanted to be an actor. And what do you think they told him? Ronnie, you can't be an actor. I mean, you can't be an actor. You're a sports announcer. But he knew he had a purpose in his life, greater than what he was accomplishing. And so he became an actor, had a very successful career. And then he decided that he wanted to be the governor of the state of California. And they said, Ronnie, you can't be the governor of the state of California. You're an actor. And you know the rest of the story. He went on to be governor of California and eventually president of the United States, where we actually saw the fall of communism through his efforts because he knew he had a greater purpose. And so, you know, I always like to think, how would your life be different if you knew that you had a significant purpose in your life? If you knew what that was. And so, for me, I was going on with my life. I was cancer-free for almost a year. And then I had a new lump. And so now I'm back in the doctor's office, and they say, the 9 words you never want to hear. Dave, you only have 6 months left to live. And so what happened with me at that time was there's really only 2 thoughts that go through your mind. The first time, very optimistic. It's very curable. They give you all kinds of statistics. The second time, they just say, you know, there's really not much we can do. There's really only 2 thoughts that go through your mind. The first thought that really went through my mind was, did it even matter that I was here? Did it even matter that I was on this planet at all? And then the second question was, did I make a difference? Did I really make a difference while I was here? So luckily for me, I was a beneficiary of a spiritual healing. And so that allowed me, that kind of answered that first question. Was it important that I was here? But it was my responsibility to be able to make a difference. From that point forward, I began to volunteer in various capacities, became very involved in trying to help other people. Because I think it's really important because all of us are going to experience our share of life's lemons. I mean, that is a fact. But the difference is what you do when you experience one of those life's lemons. How do you deal with those things? And so some of the ways that I've been able to make a difference, as was in my introduction, I worked for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, which oversaw the granting more than 1,000 wishes. I also, when I was in college, I started a support group for teens and young adults with cancer called HERO. very successful program, ran the Fatherhood Initiative here. And so I kind of had a little bit of knack for that. And so people would always ask me, Dave, how do you do these kind of things? What is your secret? Well, really, what I did was I wrote a book, and this is how I became Lemonade Dave. I didn't wake up one morning and decide that I want to wear yellow all the time. Just kind of happened that way. My wife hates it. But what happened was, I wrote the book, The Lemonade Stand, a couple years ago. And lemonade is actually an acronym for the 8 key ingredients that anybody can use to make a difference. Now, it's not my formula. I mean, it's been used to found the Make-A-Wish Foundation, Special Olympics, all the way down to grassroots kind of organizations. All those things are included in the book. You can read that and go through that and follow those steps to be able to do that. But the key ingredient that's only alluded to in the book that is not necessarily said in the book is you. Because really, no organization or group can really make a difference without you. And that's really what the key is. I want to be able to share with you one last story. You know, it's one thing when you hear for yourself that you have cancer and that there's really no hope. But unfortunately for my family, I don't tell you this for any pity reasons, because there's not really any. My youngest stepson was diagnosed with a rare form of lung cancer. And what happened was when he was diagnosed, he was only 8. And there's a lot of difference when you're an 8-year-old than when you are a smaller thing. And you begin to think those same 2 questions. Did it matter that he was here, and did he make a difference? Because 8-year-olds generally don't make a difference. Well, luckily for us, Gabriel was a special young man. What happened was he asked, it was around the holidays, so families always asking, well, what can we do to help? What can we do to help? So we said, well, why don't you just send him Christmas cards and, let him know that you really care about him. So between Facebook and email, we got over 5,000 Christmas cards. We got gifts from all over the whole world. How many of you ever had candy from Russia? Okay, don't try it if you haven't. You guys got to find out about sugar. Go have a nice candy while you're here. It was not very good. No offense. But what happens is, he began to have this following of people that were very interested in him throughout the whole world. He had over 5,000 people that regularly follow him with his updates. But he didn't care about that. He was just an amazing kid. He had a great attitude. Just to give you one example, when they told us that there was really nothing else they could do with the hospital, at first they thought he'd only live a couple of weeks, and he actually ended up living for several months. But they told us there's nothing else he could do, and they sent us home from the hospital. And so they always send over the hospice worker comes over, and the social worker come over, and he's sleeping on the couch. So they think, this poor, sick, little kid, we said, no, just to warn you, he's just not feeling good today. And the nurse said, well, I'll come back tomorrow. So the nurse comes back tomorrow, pulls in the driveway, and I said, hey, Gabriel, the nurse is here. He said, tell her we're not home. I said, you know what? You tell her we're not home. So he jumped up off the couch, ran out the front door, pushed it open, and said, we're not home! Slammed the door and locked it. So he had a great, great attitude. And the way that he dealt with things was really quite an inspiration to us. Family was really important to him. He made sure that he told everybody that he loved them. And, just the way he was able to do things, he's had a positive influence on a lot of people. There's still this little group down in Atlanta, Georgia, that every Thursday they wear blue for Gabe. They were just impacted by him that much. And so, when you begin to think about your life and where you're at, there's no guarantee on how long we're going to be here. There's no guarantee on what's going to happen. And I don't know what life lemons you've already had, or what life's lemons might be in your future, or that you're going through right now. But I just want to encourage you that those become opportunities for us to be able to make a difference. And so what do you do when, life gives you lemons?
Make lemonade.
Actually, you set the Guinness World Record for the world's longest lemonade stand. So we are actually going to do that. There's information over there for that. We're going to set the Guinness World Record for the world's longest lemonade to raise money for childhood cancer. Okay, we invite you to stop over there and be able to see that. It'll be more than a half mile long. But there's different things that we're able to do and be involved in. And, I just appreciate the outpouring of the community when we went through that. It'll be a year next month that he passed away. And there's a lot of healing that goes on throughout that process. But you can't really be healed without people that care about you and take the time to really be there for you. And so we really appreciate that outpouring, still the outpouring and support that we have. As I wrap up today, and I know I only had a few minutes to be able to share with you, and I'm glad you guys at least knew who Ronald Reagan was. It's pretty sad when you go and speak at colleges and they're not sure who he was. So it's not on the entry exam, I guess. But one of my favorite quotes that I just want to leave you with, because I just want to be able to encourage you, is we're all going to have to answer those two questions. The two questions are, did it matter that I was here, and did I make a difference? At some point in our life, we're all going to have to evaluate that, and don't wait till you're experiencing a life lemon to decide to answer that question. And so this is a quote actually from Elizabeth Dole. And what she said, when you look back on your life, I sincerely believe that what really matters most is not how much money you made, how many titles you held, or how much prestige you amassed. Instead, you'll be asking, what did I stand for? Did I make a difference, a positive difference in the lives of others? Thank you.